Have you ever thought about how the big things in life really happen? Most people believe success comes from one huge moment, a big break, a lucky chance, or a life-changing event. But that's not the full truth. Real success is not built in one day. It's built slowly, quietly, and patiently, one small moment at a time. Every time you choose to get up when you don't feel like it. Every time you smile even when life is heavy. Every time you try again after failing. Those moments matter. They may feel small, unimportant, or invisible to others, but each one is like a tiny drop of water. And those drops, they create oceans. They shape mountains. In this video, we're going to look at the real power behind the little things we do every day. You'll see why small efforts, done with consistency and heart, are way more powerful than big, dramatic moves. Because in the end, it's not the big moments that shape your life. It's the small ones. Because moments make mountains. Welcome to Mind-Blowing Motive, where every word is meant to lift you up and push you forward. At Mind-Blowing Motive, we believe one small moment can spark a lifetime of change. It's easy to look at successful people and think, they're just lucky, or they had help. But if you look deeper, you'll find a different story. Behind every great achievement, there are thousands of quiet moments. Times when no one was watching, no one was cheering, and no one even knew what they were doing. But they kept going. Not because it was easy, not because they were sure it would work, but because they believed that small steps matter. And they do. Think about this. A tree doesn't grow overnight. You plant a seed, and for a long time, you see nothing. But under the soil, something is happening. Roots are growing. The tree is getting stronger where no one can see. And one day, a tiny green sprout breaks through. That's how effort works. Your daily actions are like planting seeds. You may not see the results right away, but that doesn't mean they're not growing. We often underestimate the value of today. We think, I'll start tomorrow. Or, one day missed won't matter. But here's the truth. Every moment you choose action over excuses, you add one more brick to the life you're building. And it's those bricks, placed one by one, that create something powerful over time. Sometimes life feels slow. You're trying, but nothing's changing. You show up, you work hard, you stay kind, and still, the mountain feels too high. That's when most people give up. But what they don't realize is that real strength is built in the waiting, in the quiet, in the effort that doesn't get applause. Mountains don't rise in a day. They rise in inches from pressure, time, and patience. So if you're tired, if you feel invisible, if you think your work is too small to matter, remember this. What you're doing right now may not look like success, but it's shaping you into someone who can handle it when it comes. And that's what matters most. It's not just about reaching the top. It's about becoming the kind of person who never stops climbing. Every single day gives you a chance to build something. Not with big, flashy moves, but with the small things that seem to go unnoticed. Waking up when you said you would. Keeping a promise you made to yourself. Taking care of your body, your mind, and your goals, even when no one's watching. These are the moments that shape your future. You don't need to wait for the perfect time. You don't need a special talent, a big plan, or someone to push you forward. What you really need is to keep showing up, to keep doing the small things right, again and again. Over time, those simple acts build strength. They build habits. They build character. That's the kind of strength that doesn't break under pressure. That's the kind of success that lasts. Think about a mountain. It doesn't rise from one big piece of rock. It's built from millions of tiny pieces, stacked, layered, and pressed together over time. That's how your life is being built, by the decisions you make every day. The hard ones, the boring ones, the ones that feel like they don't matter. But they do. Each one is a step. Each one is a piece of your mountain. You won't always see progress right away. You might look around and wonder if you're moving at all. But the truth is, growth happens in silence. It happens in moments of discipline. It happens when you choose to keep going instead of quitting. And someday, when you look back, you'll see just how far you've come. Not because of one big day, but because of what you did when nobody else was looking. So don't let the quiet fool you. Don't let the small moments make you think they don't count. The real power is in the ordinary. The greatness is in the repetition. The success is in the routine. And if you stay faithful to the process, one day you'll look up and realize you've built a mountain. One of the hardest things about staying consistent is that the world teaches us to chase results. We want things fast. We want to see proof. We want the reward now. But life doesn't work that way. The real rewards come to those who keep going without needing constant results to keep them motivated. That's not easy. But that's what separates those who dream from those who do. When you stop focusing on quick wins and start focusing on daily effort, something shifts. You stop being controlled by feelings. You start becoming someone who does the right thing even on the hard days. That's what builds real confidence. Not fake confidence that depends on other people's approval, but deep confidence that comes from knowing you're showing up for your life every single day. Sometimes we think small steps are a waste of time. We say things like, "What's the point?" or "It's not enough." But the truth is, every great story is made of small scenes. Every big win starts with one brave choice. It could be getting up 5 minutes earlier, saying no to something that pulls you away from your goals, choosing kindness when it's easier to be cold. These may seem like small things, but they're not. They're everything. You don't need a perfect plan to move forward. You just need to take the next step, one moment at a time, one day at a time, one small effort after another. That's how you create something solid, something lasting, something that grows even when no one else notices. There's a quiet kind of power in doing what you said you'd do, in not giving up when no one is cheering for you, in trusting that the seeds you're planting today will bloom, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week, but eventually. And when they do, they'll be stronger, deeper, and more beautiful than anything that happens overnight. There's something deeply powerful about people who keep showing up. They're not always loud, they're not always seen, but they're steady. They're the ones who show up to work when they don't feel like it, who stay kind when life gets hard, who choose progress over perfection, and who keep walking even when the road is quiet. These are the people who build lasting change, not because they had it easy, but because they refused to give up. We live in a world that often praises fast success, viral moments, overnight fame, instant rewards. But real growth doesn't work like that. Mountains aren't built with a shout. They're built with quiet strength, with time, with pressure, with patience. That's why your daily effort matters more than any applause. Because it's not the big moments that shape you. It's what you do when no one's watching. Think about a musician learning to play. At first it sounds like noise, mistakes, off notes, But the musician keeps going, day after day, finger by finger, until one day the sound becomes smooth, beautiful, masterful, not because they were born with it, but because they stayed with it. They trusted the process. They believed that practice, those small, boring, frustrating moments, were leading somewhere. It's the same with you. Whether your mountain is a career, a relationship, a goal, or your own self-growth, don't be afraid of slow progress. Don't be ashamed of small beginnings. The people who get somewhere in life are rarely the ones who started strong. They're the ones who refused to stop, who didn't need to be perfect, who didn't wait for permission. They just began. And they kept going. And maybe you're in a place right now where you feel like what you're doing doesn't matter. Maybe you're working hard and seeing nothing change. But what if this moment, this quiet, thankless, hard moment, is the exact one that's preparing you for your breakthrough? What if this is the season where you're growing the deepest roots? That's the beauty of slow effort. It doesn't just build the dream, it builds you. We've spent the last few minutes uncovering the truth that small efforts matter, that mountains are built moment by moment. But now I want to take this message even deeper, because sometimes hearing the message isn't enough. We need to live it. That's why I want to leave you with 5 powerful takeaways. These are not just tips. They are quiet truths that will keep you grounded on the hard days, focused on the dull days, and unstoppable on the great days. Each one is meant to spark something inside you, not just for today, but for the long journey ahead. 1. Respect the small start. It's so easy to overlook the beginning, especially when it feels unimpressive. You start a new habit, but it doesn't feel strong. You begin a goal, but it feels too far away. And right there, in that moment, is where most people quit. Not because they don't care, but because the beginning feels too small to matter. But the truth is, every big thing begins small. Think about a tree. Before it reaches for the sky, it pushes its roots deep into the ground. That part isn't visible. No one applauds it. But without it, the tree wouldn't survive a single storm. Your small start is just like that. It's not for show. It's for strength. It's for building the deep foundation you'll stand on later. Ask yourself this: am I willing to be bad at something long enough to get good at it? Am I humble enough to be a beginner? If you can answer yes, you've already unlocked something powerful. Because most people want success, but very few are willing to be unseen while they work for it. And yet, that's where the magic is. In those quiet early mornings, in those 10-minute efforts, in those first few steps no one claps for. Let's be honest, it's not glamorous. Sometimes starting feels awkward. It feels like you're walking in the dark. But the truth is, it's in that darkness that your light is born. You learn to depend on your own discipline, your own dreams, your own belief in what's possible. And remember, nobody starts out great. Every skilled person you admire, every athlete, every artist, every leader, started exactly where you are. They made mistakes. They doubted themselves. They had more questions than answers. But they kept going, and that's what made them unstoppable. So don't rush the beginning. Don't shame the small. Respect it. Because it's in that humble start that your mountain begins to rise. 2. Stay consistent, not perfect. Perfection is a myth. It's the dream that whispers, if you can't do it perfectly, don't do it at all. And sadly, too many people listen to that voice. They wait for the perfect mood, the perfect time, the perfect energy. And while they're waiting, their dreams slip away. But consistency? That's real. That's powerful. And that's how real change is made. You don't have to give 100% every single day. You just have to keep showing up, even when it's messy, even when it's only 40%, even when it's not your best. Because small, repeated actions, done over time, are always stronger than occasional bursts of effort. Always. Let's say you want to write a book. One person writes for 10 hours one weekend, then never writes again for 2 months. Another person writes just 15 minutes a day, every day. Who finishes the book first? Not the one chasing perfection, but the one building quiet momentum. That's the power of consistency. Ask yourself, can I stay committed to my path even when it's boring? Because the truth is, growth isn't always exciting. Sometimes it feels like doing the same small thing over and over again. Like showing up at the gym, practicing your skill, saying no to distractions, choosing the harder right over the easier wrong. But that's where your strength is built, in the repetition. And here's a secret. Consistency builds confidence. Every time you show up, even when you don't feel like it, you're telling yourself, I can trust me. And over time, that trust becomes unshakable. You no longer wait to be motivated. You don't need someone to push you. You become your own engine, your own fire. That's the kind of person who climbs mountains, not because they sprint, but because they never stop walking. Let go of the pressure to be flawless. Let go of the lie that you have to feel ready every day. You don't. You just need to move. Inch by inch, step by step. Your consistency is enough. Your effort is enough. You are enough. So stop chasing perfection. Start chasing progress. Keep showing up, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's not. Because it's in those gritty, quiet, unglamorous days that your legacy is being built. 3. Celebrate the invisible wins. We live in a world that praises the loud achievements, the medals, the job promotions, the big announcements. But what about the silent wins, the ones no one sees or claps for? Like choosing not to give up. Like getting out of bed on a tough day. Like doing the right thing when no one is watching. These invisible wins are the ones that truly shape your future. The truth is, most of the progress you make in life won't be noticed by the world. But that doesn't make it any less powerful. In fact, it makes it more meaningful. Because it's in those moments, when it's just you and your choices, that real character is built. Let's say you're trying to build a better habit. You go for a walk even when you're tired. You skip the junk food when nobody's around. You pick up that book instead of scrolling on your phone. These are not viral moments. They don't get likes or applause. But each one is a brick in the foundation of your new life. Ask yourself, am I willing to keep going even if no one notices? Because if your motivation depends on attention, your progress will always be fragile. But if you can learn to honor your own efforts, to value your own invisible victories, you become unstoppable. Start recognizing those tiny wins. Write them down. Smile about them. Tell yourself, that mattered. Because it did. The day you didn't feel like trying, but you did anyway. That mattered. The time you were afraid, but spoke up anyway. That mattered. The choice to forgive, to breathe, to stay calm. Those are wins too. Let me give you a quiet example. Think about a seed buried underground. There's no sunshine, no praise, just silence and pressure. But under that pressure, in that hidden place, the seed is changing, growing, becoming, and one day it breaks through the surface. Not because of what the world gave it, but because of what it did in the dark. That's what your invisible wins do for you. Don't wait to feel proud only when the crowd cheers. Be proud now. Be proud of the progress you've made in private, the healing no one saw, the learning you did when nobody asked you to. That's strength. That's growth. That's the kind of momentum that builds a mountain. So today, take a moment to honor your invisible wins. Celebrate the fact that you're still here, still trying, still becoming. That's not small, that's everything. 4. Trust the process, not the pace. One of the hardest things in life is patience, especially when you're trying so hard, giving your best every day, and still not seeing the results you hoped for. It can feel frustrating. You look around and it seems like everyone else is moving faster, getting further ahead, achieving more, winning earlier. And in those moments, the temptation to give up becomes real. But here's the truth. Growth doesn't follow a perfect timeline, and your journey isn't supposed to look like anyone else's. Success isn't about being the fastest. It's about being faithful. It's about showing up again and again, even when things move slowly. Because sometimes, what you plant today won't bloom for months or even years. But that doesn't mean it's not working. That doesn't mean you're not growing. It just means you're building something deep, something that lasts. Think about nature. A bamboo tree takes years before it even breaks the ground. But once it does, it grows rapidly, reaching incredible heights in a short time. What was it doing all that time underground? Strengthening its roots, preparing itself for the weight of growth. You're no different. Your quiet effort, your silent struggle, your unseen commitment. It's all laying the foundation for something big, something beautiful. You might ask yourself, why is it taking so long? But maybe the better question is, what am I becoming in the waiting? Because the process shapes you. The slow days teach resilience. The hard days build grit. And every step you take, even if it's small, is a step forward. Let's say someone is learning a new skill. Maybe they're starting a business, writing a book, or trying to break a bad habit. Some days feel full of progress, and others feel like you're stuck. But what they don't realize is that consistency is a process of layering. Layer after layer of effort. Over time, those layers become strength. They become habits. They become success. It's not about rushing to the finish line. It's about learning to love the journey, to trust that the work you're doing today matters, even if it's invisible right now, because the people who reach their goals are rarely the ones who started fastest. They're the ones who refused to quit, who kept planting seeds even in dry seasons, who believed that one day all the effort would be worth it. So don't panic if your path feels slow. Don't compare your progress to someone else's highlight reel. You're not behind. You're just building something solid, something real. Keep going, at your pace. Trust your process, because slow progress is still progress. And sometimes, it's the most powerful kind. 5. One day, it all adds up. There's something incredibly powerful about the idea that today matters. Not in a huge, dramatic way, but in a quiet, meaningful one. Every action you take, every effort you make, every time you choose growth over comfort, it's all part of a bigger picture you can't fully see yet. But one day, you will. One day, all of it will make sense. One day, all of it will add up. See, the problem with progress is that it doesn't always feel like progress, especially when you're deep in it. You show up day after day, putting in the work, staying committed, but the results feel slow or even invisible. And that's when doubt creeps in. You start to wonder if any of this even matters, if maybe you're wasting your time. But let me ask you this. Have you ever looked back at a time in your life and realized that everything you were doing back then was preparing you for something important now? That the little steps, the ones you barely noticed, were actually shaping who you became? That's what happens when you don't give up. That's what happens when you keep going, even when it's hard. Imagine you're stacking bricks, one brick a day. Doesn't seem like much, right? But keep stacking for 100 days, 200 days, a year. You'll turn around one day and realize you've built a wall, maybe even a home, but only if you didn't stop, only if you trusted the power of small, steady effort. Let's look at an example. Think about someone learning to play the piano. The first few weeks? Clumsy, slow, frustrating. But they keep at it. One lesson at a time. One scale at a time. No shortcuts. And one day, without even realizing it, their fingers glide over the keys. Music flows, and it hits them. I became this. I built this day by day. That's your life. You're becoming something even when it feels like nothing is happening. You're growing in strength, in wisdom, in discipline, all because you chose not to quit. And when the day comes that your results finally show, you'll look back and realize it wasn't one big decision that changed your life. It was hundreds of small ones. The daily effort, the silent wins, the patience. So if you're feeling stuck right now, remember this. It's all adding up. Every time you say yes to the hard but right choice, it counts. Every time you stay true to your goal when no one's watching, it counts. Every time you fall, then get back up. It counts. Your mountain is being built. One moment, one habit, one choice at a time. Keep going. The view from the top will be worth every step. And as we close this journey today, I want you to remember something simple. Greatness is not something you stumble upon. It's something you build, quietly, daily, moment by moment, like drops of water carving stone, like tiny seeds growing into mighty trees. Your effort matters, even when it feels small, even when it goes unseen, because success doesn't come in one loud burst. It comes silently, from the steady rhythm of commitment. So no matter where you are right now, whether you're just starting, struggling in the middle, or waiting for your breakthrough, keep going. Believe in the invisible progress. Trust your pace. Honor your journey. Because the truth is, moments make mountains. And one day, when you look back, you'll be amazed at how far you've come. All because you chose not to quit. Thank you for spending this time with me. This is Mind-Blowing Motive, where we turn ordinary moments into extraordinary power. If today's message moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And remember, your growth is your gift to the world. Keep rising, keep shining. We'll meet again in the next video.